And then we will do, let's see. There used to be a way to get a link, but maybe it doesn't matter.
So that you could put a link in the. Now I can try to put it. No, I can't.
Hey.
My phone is out of place.
I'll just do it this way.
What is it gonna be on?
Whoops. I am currently getting the link to post. It's on Creative Writing right now.
Okay, cool.
It's running. It's funny because I'm talking, but also it's funny because it has like a little bit of delay. Yeah.
It looks like there's 2 people on.
Well, one of them was me a second ago. One of them was actually myself. Stop.
I know, I understand on me too.
Let's see if that works. Now they're kind of crooked, so that's fun. I was gonna.
Yeah, it's live. I'm not.
The timing is off. That's the funny thing. It's like just off enough to be entertaining. That's pretty good. That's fine. It's always hard to tell when it gets started because people are different speeds and all this other stuff.
Oh, you're right. I lost 7. I don't have time.
Hello, everyone. Hello. What is? Yo. What up? We're gonna get started. It is 7:30. I wanted to make a few announcements. Again, I am Jessica Zins-Tresnick, undergrad director. So if you have questions about any of the things I'm about to tell you, please do stick around and I will answer. For those BFA majors who are thinking about portfolios, if you are finishing up your 2000 level courses, your portfolios are due October 1st by 5 p.m. Those are 10 to 25 pages of creative works. If you want to blend fiction poetry, that's cool. You can do that. And then your intro essay and a cover. And all of the info is on the website. So you're submitting that by 5 p.m. on October 1st to either myself, Jessica Zins-Tresnick, jzins@bgsu.edu, or Danielle Birkin, our secretary. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is next week's Prout is an open mic. So if you are interested in participating in, we're going to focus on the undergraduates for an open mic. Come sign up. It will be a sign up sheet at the beginning of Prout. So I will probably be here around 7:10, 7:15, and you can get signed up. It will be you will have 4 minutes. So it'll be probably like 2 poems or a page of prose. We would love to hear what you have to offer. And that's all I have. I'm going to turn it over to Megan to do an intro for our reader.
Okay, can everybody hear me? It's a lot of people here tonight. No, naturally. Can you hear me now? No. Okay, a little bit? Okay. So I have the privilege of getting to introduce the always wonderful Abigail Cloud tonight. I've known Abby, I was doing the math earlier, for what seems like forever, but is only around 6 years, actually 7, which is actually a fourth of my life, which is like awesome and scary at the same time to think that time has gone that fast. Nonetheless, at this point, I feel like we spent enough time together to read each other's minds. I feel like we always know what the other person's going to say before anything is ever even said. As anyone here who has had her as a teacher or has worked with her, she cares deeply for the people around her and loves the work she performs. As a fellow student and now colleague of hers, I'm always amazed at the way she dedicates herself to her work and how high level of craft that comes out of it. Even her art is amazing, and she always finds time each year to participate in the fair to create stunning works of art. You should look at them sometime. Abby's a lady of many talents and always finds a way to balance relaxation in with that, including watching live cat cams, discussing curling leagues, chatting about Renaissance fairs, and all those little obsessions that find their way into our lives in our writing. Abby is the editor-in-chief of Mid-American Review and an advisor for Prairie Margins, the undergraduate literary journal here. Her book was published in 2014, and she has poems out in Cletus, American Poetry Review, Gargoyle, and others. She received her BA in English from Michigan State University and her MFA from BGSU. As someone with a background in dance, Abby mixes the deep-rooted foundation of rhythm and beat into her work, while also being interested in the connection between the movement and the body in her poetry. You can see a lot of this reflecting in her first collection of work, with the sectioning inspired by romance ballet. A recurring image that always interests me in her first collection is that of a demon, but not the one that you would conventionally think of. More so, we're thinking of like mundane problems like spilling coffee on your shirt. I've read her collection quite a few times now, and it's something that always finds its way back into my mind and is haunting me. I'm excited to hear her read her work tonight, especially some of her new work. I got a glimpse of it today. I think everyone's going to enjoy it, and I hope you do too. So here's Abby.
Thank you so much, Megan. It's such a pleasure to be up here. It's been a long time since I've given a reading up here. Usually I'm just giving you information. So today we get to do something a little different. I should say, don't get too alarmed if you see any of our friends up front going bonkers. I gave them Prout bingo cards. So they will be vociferously going through their bingo. So I'm going to read a mixture of things tonight, and I will give some explanations and so on here and there. But I just really wanted to thank you all for coming. There are so many faces here that we don't normally see here, and I love that. Thank you for coming out, and we'll have a good time, I think. So since Megan mentioned the demon poems, I hadn't originally pulled one of those, but now I will pull one because they are fun. The demon poems, they're everyday demons, and they basically just cause just general trouble in the universe. So for instance, this is Broken Jar Demon. Stop. A slurry of flashes, fingers crisp with parsley, and the sudden absence of violent gap. How the synapse connects, a splinter of fear in the nail bed. The light twists. The car has been in one piece for 5 more months. The cat is still purring at our ankles. The doorbell never rang. Curse all these numb figments. The assembly of shards cannot be a sign. The air blisters. That sign thing will become relevant later, so we'll have that for fun too. So I hammered out a poem last night just for fun, and because I love it when readers read brand spanking new work that they maybe haven't tried out before. I really respect that because I know it's super, super difficult. And this one is also dedicated to the Mid-American Review staff, and they will know why. Nightfall. This is a poem with a bird and a deer. The bird takes the form of a plastic clutch of feathers at dark. The deer is my sister's white legs chasing after, or the neighbor's terracottas charging out of the pines. I'm ready now to tell a lie. At times, I haunt the house my mother grew up in, full of China robins. One last home on that street. I check my balance outside in meteor season. I gather moth leavings from the milkweed in the yard, steep a sleeping tea. I understand the perception of light across a bed frame, how bare the mattress is not. How could this one come out so lonely? Every time my feet stop, my mouth opens. Keeping with the falling theme, this is Windfall. Windfall. The trees drop their apples right into the road, and there are not enough people to eat them. A town so full of plenty, the gravel makes room for new planets. Back home, the yellow jackets bore deep as a fleshing wheel to feed their foundress. I tripped once over their globe and took 11 stings into my baby skin, my sunburnt peel. I've tried to describe the Macintosh, the slap sweet of it, its September night skin crisp as a book jacket. We stabbed sticks into the windfall, tested our tiny strength. How far into the lake can an earth be flung? What could the fish have thought, red worlds orbing down through their mantle of weeds? Any other apple flingers in here? Anyone? Nobody? Oh man, you guys, it's the best time. It's so fun. Because you're going to get those squishy apples on the ground. They're not going to do any good. So you might as well do something with them. Hope sticks in there. So a couple years ago, 5 years ago, in fact, tax day, 2016, I went skateboarding for the first time since the 80s. And I fell off and broke my arm and my leg and was in a wheelchair for 6 weeks. So these next two poems deal with that, but they also introduce a character called the Oracle Stenographer, which is sort of the theme to the next collection that I'm sort of circulating. The Oracle Stenographer is literally that. She takes notes on what the Oracle is telling her and interprets them accordingly, and does not always have the easiest time of it. So she's going to pop up a couple of times through the rest. The Oracle Stenographer misses a step, but not the kind you think, the bare moment in the instructions when a silence must be observed or a spoonful must be removed. Not a lapse in the recipe, but in concentrated motion, a square breath when her superpower might be suspension of time or time travel, might even be flight. She's heard at first, it's easier not to know what's coming, to dislocate the consciousness. Her power, though, turns to blessed amnesia, 2 seconds twist of pale absence when she can't recall the order of limbs, the equation of concrete, the dynamic parabola of a body's ricochet. Parabola is such a delicious word, isn't it? Parabola. It's a word that you can say to people and just be as intense as you want. And they're going to look at you strangely, but you know what? It's fine. Who cares? The 6th week. Today, I must learn to be alone again. The shell of my leg stands cicada split. This year, our turn for the cycle of 17s by the door. I make steps and decisions. In the yard, the owl chooses a time when no one looks to glow. The eryngium I found snipped onto the path broke me again, all its sharp purpose. Anagrams present, feral, ravels, leaves, larvae. All of these are true. I cannot stand the itch of absence, a hair out of reach. My mouth goes mouse tight. I recognize the danger of straight line winds, sink my heels, thrum. So another theme in this collection-y business, it's a collection, we can say that out loud, it's fine, is moths. I'm obsessed with moths, and I started writing a series of poems forever ago that had to do with like super scientific ways of divining things, just using moths. So now I have a whole lot of moth poems, and they pop up when I don't expect it also. But in this particular case, the Oracle Stenographer gets involved. The Oracle Stenographer renames Lepidoptera, but the O will not get on board, points to the ironwood and intones pleasant dagger, to the stalks by the road, doubtful apamea. They catch in the veranda's corner webs. The stenographer sees the spider retreat and names the invader toxic veil, names the anti-aphrodisiac secretors buzzkill. What pearl strikes its neighbor? What bride evades a devotee? Someone, Linnaeus probably, ignored the obvious, the genital file sawing into the pupa, the unraveling hair pencils and their tranquilizers. A predator is a predator. Its nuptial gift, a chemical war. They really do that, you guys. There are a couple of moth species that do that. It's a little gross. Lepidoptery 4-year anniversary. And this one has the moth attached. Pterophorus pentadactyla, Linnaeus, 1758. Don't bother to ask if you'll be content. This isn't about how long your love will last, only how long, the hours fringed out into years. Distract the moth with convolvulus, sky morning glory for June weddings, plum for July. Avoid bindweed unless you intend to be dominated. Count. Each breath-thin hair, each finite shred. Some hours are lost, gaps torn into the plume. Don't be tempted to cheat, to estimate, to average. Know your tally must be in faith. In the end, 4 four-winged stems notch the white years, the hind wing tatters reckoning how many years left. So another character in this little division, in this collection, is Old Madge, but she also came up in Sylph in my collection. She's a character in the ballet Sylphide. She's the one who sells James the spell to take the wings off of the Sylph, and therefore killing her, although of course she doesn't mention that. So in this collection, she's kind of an old witch, and but she also has she has a backstory. She has her own sort of life. So this is one from Sylph, just to kind of get into that mood. From the Compendium of Old Madge. To warm a woman's feet. Bathe the feet in a mash of mint and powdered clove. At night, sprinkle cayenne and ginger at the foot of the bed. If married, consider lettuce to reduce incidental effects, or feed the husband sunflower seeds to render him impotent. To quiet a man's rage. If a man is chronically enraged, avoid the nightshade. Rather, drops of violet in his tea laced with orange blossom will induce sleep. Or a lady may heighten a man's prowess and so combat his energy. Vervain for hair growth, fruit of orangeum for libido and gum pain. If the rage be sudden, give a tisane of star anise and thyme in rum, drunk all at once, and let him alone until calm. To view the future, crush a scant handful of hazelnuts and contemplate their shape. Eventide, take to your bed with a pillow of mugwort. You will dream of loved ones or learn to conquer a fear. Take care the mugwort does not molder, lest your future also decay. Burn the pillow for a pleasant smoke. To render a person young. Pass a new quail's egg over the body to absorb contempt and regret. Explain to the egg as it hardens. Bury the egg in a failed well. Rinse the body with a wash of elderflower and ash. Extract a promise against grain liquors and jealousy. To bind a woman to a man. At dinner, burn an incense of cinnamon and hang a patch of myrtle above the table. Or if the lady's choice is not desired, feed her a cake of periwinkle ground with house leek. Ignore the mandrake root unless the lady be a sylph. Do not speak lest the spell be upset. To ground a sprite. To keep a fairy, you must remove her wings. In a fire, char the roots of sea holly and mandrake. Grind these in a basin. In a kettle, burn as many moths as are drawn to the fire. Add to the basin with a scruple of clematis juice. Drop into this mixture a length of scraped muslin, light in the air. When the sylph comes to you, wrap her in the scarf. Her wings will shrivel to be plucked away or drift to the ground of their own accord. So some of that is actually real. Some of those are real things that were recommended to perform certain acts, which is always a little bit creepy. It's always a good time. But one of my favorite books that I have is a physician's medical reference for herbs, just herbs and things. And it's enormous. It's a huge, huge book. And it talks a lot about like the lore of the plants as well, like all the little things that they would be recommended for. But it's also just a good time to go back through like ancient science and dubious recommendations and sort of see what they are, because usually they're nonsensical. And that's actually what I like about them. This next poem is called Throwing the Bones, and it appears in Confluence Boom, which is the studio album of Indian Opinion, on which one of our alums, Benji Katz, was the bass guitarist. I had such a good time being part of the band, which has never happened to me before, except for the one day of rehearsal in which I was a shadow dancer for a different band. High school. But it was really great to work with them. There's one of Benji's poems is also part of that song, and it was quite a learning experience for me. Throwing the bones. These days, she uses rotisserie chickens from the grocery superstore. Bones soften their meat, tender enough to pick apart with her old fingers, stripping the skeleton whistle clean. She still wants to know how long her stores will hold, if her efforts at a wedding will properly wrinkle, whether arthritis will cripple her through winter. Never easy anymore to crouch to the mat before the fire, to see the holes in thigh bones, scapulae scraped clean. She'll pull the wishbone with the cat. Always the short wing, only the smallest journeys. Always the boldest drum, her wits sleeker than her feet. She makes strong luck. But why the caved-in breast, the empty hollow? Why the stiff, forbidding spine? The house is ever quiet and dark. Why does the cat always win? So I'm going to read a couple that are versions of various forms of divination. And in my mind, this is old Madge in the past sort of performing these things. So keeping with the cat theme, Illuromancy. For a week, I follow the cat. I forget how to spell, but write down its figures on the carpet, in the bathtub, against the wall. I follow him at night, stare at the same ghosts in silent corners. For an hour, we gaze under the oven together. We assemble beggar ticks in our coats. We pilot boxes and select ambush. I question what the bottom of a half-empty bowl speaks upward. From what am I protected? Carve, dog, boar, he spells with loose bones. At midnight, we begin to run. Osteomancy. I don't remember bones beside the steps, a skull in two, paper curled into cavities of teeth. I follow the bones inside, one tree dropped by the stove, hollowed airward, clean bitten. The basement mouse stays perfectly zipped in its mantle of fur mited to shreds. Questioned, the carpet gives up exoskeletons of blue bottles. The bookshelf lets its secret bat crumble back into dust. At lake's edge, the snapper mouths the muskrat in deep vowels, its rules for haruspicy unclear as the entrails spiral into the mud and leave no bones to speak. For those that know, I have a mouse named Hector, and that's not the mouse in this poem. It's not Hector. That's not it. Hector has appeared in one or two poems at this point. Not a lot, though. He's keeping his own counsel. Tasseography. For once, I leave off the bags and measure out a mouthful of leaves. They say to drink, say to swirl. I flip the cup and this is wrong. Begin again, shake a last mouthful. In the cup, a swamp in which I live. My leavings mouth a spire, a spear, holy terror, devil's cross. Tea drunk, I could find blessing or ballast. My God, all the answers at industry in the ant bodies tracing the dread's spiral. My past has never seemed so opaque, my future an absence of space. I've never had so much in my mouth to confess. I open the heart with a thumb swipe clockwise, pray into this white breach. So one of the things that I've been kind of doing lately, because it's hard sometimes for me to get into the poetry mode, is just write fragments and then put them together, or at least to like follow a thought enough to have like maybe a stanza and then see where we are later. And then sometimes they work out really well, especially if I'm doing this in like one place. So I go up north in Michigan to an empty farmhouse and I work up there and wander around and listen to the absolute quiet that's up there. And so this is a poem that's sort of about that space, but also about divination by use of dust on surfaces and so on. So it's abacamancy. I shelter in silence, eat pots of beans and potatoes. I eat the bad salt. The clock is the loudest of objects in this house. And then one night a white moth transmutes against the bedroom wall. It stays and stays, pure powder triangle. When we say predict, we do mean answers, but also a ghost measuring the air. Wheels crackle over empty grass. A volume of starlings pretends distance and stays. I try to think whose soul this is, what right or wrong I've done to be visited by the dead where I sleep. What does it tell me by dying just there? What catastrophe or joy arrives next? What is the name for how walnut twigs move? The walnut twindles in time with the clock, and I can't recall the sign for synchronicity, for the belly flash a far-off sparrow makes in the road the moment your eyes meet its dust. One shoe, empty the sand. Second shoe, empty the sand. The third shoe is the first over again because it is impossible to be fully empty. Each step a new scatter. When I re-enter the house, the layers already speak to a long wait. I could draw shapes, pour out a new language, but hasn't the wait said enough this time? Haven't our ashes, our motes of skin called forward age to age, each to each, come to deserve a common agreement of settlement? I too settled. The tick sings to the fan's tick, which sings to a stomach's sick understanding of the longest hour. In this silence, I learn to unclench my jaw again and recognize my weight against the earth. I should have seen the hawk thumping up from the ditch, not the puff of dust from its rise, not my car's detritus after. And stays. It does not breathe in my breath or aim for any greater light. I read it every night and refuse to claim its ideas the color of bones. Old Madge refuses to tidy the garden. Madge keeps the place pleasingly wild, though these days she expects to get some yellow notice at the door. It's not the spells so much, not the botany of her trade, but a language she and the cat read side by side in the old swing. Which way the dust of the goldenrod blows, which Queen Anne's lace cringes into itself first. The cat follows every seed tooth to the earth. She'd annihilate the ragwood entirely if she could, but keep the pokeberry, those violent pendulums, to smash underfoot and bleed. And there just happens to be a pokeberry growing right next to my driveway again, which means I'm going to have some very purple poop on my car very shortly. Thank you, birds. Honestly. Anyone else have that problem? Oh, God. It's such a disaster. You think I'd just cut it down, but no, that's too much work. One day, old Madge's house goes silent. I tried indulgence, pennies counted and sealed into the floor. I tried sponging films, fogs over the pale green of the living room wall, rotating lampshades, an articulation of music boxes. The house is dead to me, still, speaks nothing, chills even the mice and the cotton torn from my towels. I can't read those holes either. I have unbroken, all the jars going spare. Unreeled the worst cassettes over the floor. Downtown, on the library's machines, I zoom deep, click by click, to the roof, the widow's peak of it pointing angry in the woods. The house swallowed its witness. No children will move me into another dumb home. No fellow aunties to raise their voices in every answer to pronounce sister into my ear. The cat hears the same ghost as always, communes with its 6 past selves. In decades past, alone meant alone. Whose forgiveness was I meant to beg? My sister and I do that to our, oh, hi, one of my nephews on there. Hi, buddy. He's 12. He has his own YouTube channel. So if anyone's on there, that's his YouTube channel right there. Totally lost my train of thought. I got excited. Our grandmother and her sisters, they'd always say sister to each other. So my sister and I still do that to each other. It's kind of, we're continuing the tradition, but mostly it was because they were deaf. But it was adorable. Big fan of that. All right, so we're kind of moving out of the old madge here. Utensil. The spoon is lost. At night, the pen pulled from the desk well uses invisible ink. The rake always falls prongs up, teeth in the grass to chew through your foot. The joke is when your face takes the hit, isn't it? That time you drank orange juice from the Macintosh apple glass and how its fragments shone across the floor a week later. It's not in the kitchen. It's not on the table. Legend says that if you walk the stairs backward with a candle and hand mirror, you'll see the face of your true love. Sources disagree, upstairs or down. At times, I'm the very last one, like the woman who dives for sea silk or a child who remembers. Am I the bow or the arrow, the knife or the egg? The spoon slipped into the soup. It's a true story. I'm really good at just losing things in very strange places. This also is kind of a true story. Harbinger. The hospital visiting sign should have read, "Do not admit this girl." They might choose words like foretell and announce. Better to name what you mean, precursor. And a picture of me, little curse in a red jumper, smiling with teacup fingers. 3 times we edged down corridors, crept in between the beeps, never clumsy with bottled vitals, never noise in critical cells. Nevertheless, always dead by week's end. Did I eat the life from the room? Did my joy kill them faster? Guilt's a powerful thing. Any other childhood guilt carriers? Anyone? Yeah. That's a time, right? So this poem is based on a story that some of you may be familiar with. This woman that she and her husband claimed that she had given birth to rabbit parts. And it was certified by many medical professionals and was in all kinds of news. And then, of course, there were skeptics and it was a mess. But this poor woman was basically caught up in this cavalcade of other people. And nobody really knows exactly what happened. The rabbit's head. They will take me off the hook when I tell them a lie or tell them a lie. They pry everything open and apart. My husband jackrabbits into the night and the bulb bells to my red hands. The blood-lined ears are membranes grafted. I do not bury them in earth caves. I do not bury them under my fur. I do not pocket them, bared down the breach, their parts, my parts, fill all cavities. I once dreamed I offered my body to feed a colony, eyes to the moon, back to the earth. Here's what I know so far. My sooterkins will have no veil drawn over, dead, all dead, to London eyes and chimney sweep hands. They call me sullen, disembowel my long tail, my blame. All the Marys stand first, picket tall, and one to another they drop to mute husks. They say we lie, we don't. At my right side, a leap of pain. At my left, a broken promise. A woman told me I'd never feel need. In the field, my heart leaped up and ran, and I, my legs gone moon wide, chased after. There were like 3 women in that story named Mary. I don't know. It was a good time. I am terrified of tornadoes, and I've been encouraging my students lately to, especially my grads, to write about things that terrify them as much as things that obsess us. A lot of times, those are the same thing, right? Things that obsess us are also things that scare us. But it's good to pay attention to the things that that frighten us. But I also, because I'm scared of tornadoes, I dream about them when I'm stressed constantly. And they take many different forms, but I've written a couple of poems about it, and this is one of those. In which she dreams again of tornadoes, skinny ones and fat ones, white ones like snow and gray ones like dishwater wrung from the cloth. Tornadoes that come for her and some that forget. She wonders why they can't just leave her alone, why her windows can't stop their ogling. Their obscene angles, the slant of houses adrift in wheat fields, a razor slicing her apartment clean in half and snatching her grandmother and her curtains. She's sick of their lewd advances, their tongues stretching long after her neck. I have 2 poems left. They're related. We're going back to the Oracle's stenographer, because the Oracle stenographer is sort of the identity that I feel kind of most aligned with, I guess. And she's the one who's kind of most philosophical. She has a lot of kind of deep-seated concerns about the world, and as do I. And she is, she's been with me for a while. Like this title, the persona came out, oh gosh, years and years ago, probably while I was still in grad school. And she's just followed me this whole time. So she's finally getting her adventure, I guess. So she recurs throughout this next collection that I've been working on. And Old Madge is they haven't really interacted yet, quite. Someday maybe, but I'm afraid that it's sort of like crossing streams. I don't know if we would explode or something if that happened, but sometimes I'm not sure if I really am the stenographer or if I am in fact Old Madge and just in denial. It's fine, either way. I've decided, a friend of mine and I were talking about what happens when we get older, and he was talking about how it's cute that you think that there will still be like nursing homes when you're old enough to need one, and that we'll still be in that position. I was like, fine, I'll become a battle hag. I don't care. It's all right. I can do it. I can do it. So check me in 40 years, y'all. We'll see what happens. Better get some weapons training in there. The Oracle stenographer prepares for the apocalypse. Though the O has been reticent about when and how. She shops with grocery lists found slipped in library books. For a while, all toilet paper and bread, the loaves bricked into her deep freeze, rolls brimming over the cupboard ledge under the stairs. Did someone do that on accident, or did you do it on purpose because it's on the bingo sheet? Okay, just checking. That's fine. They were threatening to do that earlier. That's why I asked. Well, everybody check your bingo sheets because it's on there somewhere. That is the best thing that could have ever happened to them. I love it. Nice. Nice. The Oracle stenographer prepares for the apocalypse, though the O has been reticent about when and how. She shops with grocery lists found slipped in library books. For a while, all toilet paper and bread, the loaves bricked into her deep freeze, rolls brimming over the cupboard ledge under the stairs. She stores a jug of water each time the moon seems wet. In her spare time, she follows stink bugs and ants, determined to uncover their most indestructible structures. When the cross breeze shifts, she puts her nose to the wind, brimstone or a struck match, marching band or last bugle. As fall moves in, she leaves the potatoes where they're interred, buries decoys beside squirrel hordes. She's learned well the material of watchful wait, how trunks snub the nest, the belly depth of juncos, the stark churr of migration. She lines her walls with fragments, with scraps, puts an eye to the crevice and listens. Last poem, are you ready? Here we go. I'm happy to answer questions afterwards. I also have books for sale at $10 a pop. I do have a credit card reader. I'm usually the one selling books to you, so I guess that's appropriate, right? How deep the snow. It's been so long we can't remember how not to read the organ of moss spread on the trunk. How to scatter grass heads without drawing notes at our wrists. We listen to the fog blowing over our bottles, woolly in its blue breath, a bold dry stone. We follow heels to the woods, from scratch to scratch in the mud. When snow reaches the chalk line at the door we know, put our calculations from the last hot hour to bed. The clock remains the loudest object in the house. Every creature that ticks falls to hush, looses its cords to the air. Our feet shh at the roadside. At winter's long edge, we go milk drunk. We close all of our eyes. Thank you so much. Anyone go bingo? Yes. Michael, you get a free book. I didn't tell them there was a prize because I didn't want them to make things happen without permission. Does anyone have any questions? I'm happy to answer. Of course, I live here, so you can always ask me literally anytime, right? Yes.
Do you consider the Oracle Stenographer as a sort of positive, negative, or like neutral character?
The stenographer, I think, is neutral good. We'll use our alignment chart. She's trying her best and not always doing it. Pretty convinced that part of what she's doing is pointless, but also recognizing that the human tendency is to see signs everywhere and in everything. That's just how we are as human beings. And we invent signs, and she understands that, or is growing to understand that, and is also exhausted by it. So again, she's trying her best, but not always feeling like what she's doing is useful, which, can relate. Hashtag my life in a lot of ways, because we're all doing our best. Old Madge is a little bit more dubious. She's mostly neutral, possibly even true neutral. She's not evil, but she's done some shady things. But she does it, and sometimes she is malicious, but like ruining weddings and things like that. But she also is just trying to survive, I guess, trying to function. Especially as she gets older and gets arthritic, and things are coming for her. Have a couple other poems where stuff is just coming for her. The signs are not great for Madge, so she's kind of also planting herself in the earth and being like, bring it. So she is the battle hag, essentially. Shoot, she's the battle hag. Oh no! Oh, realization. Yeah. Oh gosh, that's such a good question. So I didn't have imaginary friends, but I had imaginary enemies. I was very convinced for the longest time that I was going to be an FBI agent, and played numerous games in my backyard where I was being chased, or trying to execute some sort of elaborate plan. It helped that our yard was such that I grew up on a lake, and we had apple trees and tomato plants and stuff like that. And you could like feed yourself from the yard. So I was just out there all day hiding around, and I had walkie-talkies, I had all kinds of stuff. And that was sort of my dream as a youth. And so that's still kind of, I haven't written about that. That's I haven't actually thought about that before, so thank you for that. That may pop up in book 3, which is sort of more home oriented at this point. 'Cause I don't know if some of you may have experienced this. You're writing a book and then other books happen, like other poetry happens, and it does not belong. So it goes in a different folder, and that is fine. That's how I was told by Dana Levin, who was the judge for the prize that my book won. She told me, she's like, this is what happens. Like it's like a hydra, one's done and then 2 more sprout, and that's fine. That's just how it works. And actually, one of our alums, Sarah Moore Wagner, just announced today that she had a book picked up for publication, but she also just won a prize with another book. So she now has 2 books coming, and she was a BFA alum. So those of you who are out there thinking about that, she's a poet as well. So that's really, really exciting news. And it's the type of thing that when I see it, I'm just like, yep, I get it. Because things are happening in parallel, and what are you going to do? You have to keep feeding all of the muses as they wish. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah, that probably connects to that. But I'm wondering, as we clearly have like such strong characters,
Mm-hmm.
how do you figure out the narrative arc of the collection? Do you find like the characters set that tone, or like how do you figure out you're going to have like other word kind of characters in the piece that organize that?
It was really hard with this second one. With the first one, it was a whole other manuscript. And then I went to a workshop by Mary Bittinger on putting your manuscript together. And I got really inspired and sat down and completely reworked the whole thing and had to fill in places for this new plan. Like Megan said earlier, that one's based on romantic ballets. And so it's divided into acts like a romantic ballet would be. With this other one, I had poems in piles, basically, and I realized that I was writing so much about signs and divination and all this other stuff, and so I was like, all right, we'll go with it. And both of the characters, the main characters that I've been working on, fit together in that theme. But organizing them, it's been through probably like 4 different orders. It's like, do I put all the old Madge together? Do I put all the Oracle Stenographer together? And ultimately, it's not quite like that. The Oracle is split up throughout the book. Old Madge is pretty much in one section, but but the Oracle Stenographer is split because she speaks more to my actual life. So some of the other poems that aren't in those 2 character groups speak more to her as well. So it sort of became more about the idea and the growth. I think at one point I had it organized by like the coming apocalypse. Like it started all like soft and pretty, and then like apocalypse at the end. I think the apocalypse stuff is still at the end, but there are other kind of distances, like the stenographer. Basically, she takes a day job at one point, which is actually a job that I had. She goes to the lake and doesn't want to come back, like all this other stuff. So she's actually kind of the core thread, and now just like another sort of aspect. And I just let her take over because that made more sense. But yeah, it was really hard. And that we're always talking about, put your poems on the wall or spread them out on the floor and reorganize them. And that is also my method. But I also like to just sit with a list and kind of move things around back and forth because it makes more sense that way. The third one I'm just letting happen. It doesn't really have characters so much. The speaker is pretty consistent, but I'm just letting that one happen. As the poems come out, and I can tell my brain is actually gearing towards that one now, because most of what I've written lately falls into that batch. So it's been kind of interesting following my own perception of that, and coming to those realizations organically and not trying to force fit it. But yeah, the moths are another example. Like the moths. Most of those are written in a really scientific voice, like old science texts, because those are a hoot to look at. And so those ones are in a more natural like life progression, I guess, but there is other stuff kind of mixed in. I love those moths, man. I can't stop. It's a problem. I have a wings problem. Like I can't not with the wings, and I know that about myself. Wings and prepositional phrases. That's how I live my life. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. But yeah, you start to realize when your habits are pretty quick. Like, oh, whoops, I should pay attention to that. It's going to be fine. Other questions? Any more questions? Hot questions. Get them hot. I don't know, I'm just going crazy at this point. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's great to see all of your faces. Take care, everyone. Have a safe time. Hello. Yes. Oh, right here. It's Jessica. It's amazing. All right, turn this bad boy on too. Put my mask back on. Buddy, wake up. Oh wait, no, I think we have to press, counterintuitively, we have to press the red button to turn it on. Why? I don't know.
I can tell you those are really slow.
Yeah, they are really slow. And the one that we have a couple of these that we borrow from the university, and big fan of that. Big fan that we have them, but boy, do they take a while. They did tell me that they used it today, so it does work. It does work today. All right, while we're waiting for that, I will sign it. Okay, we're initializing. Good, good. Yeah, she's trying her best. Okay, we did it. We're here. All right. I will avert my gaze while you enter your PIN number. I'm very ostentatious. There we go. Come on, kitten. You can do it. Sometimes that helps. Whoa. Look at you go. All right, that one's for me. And that one's for you. Thank you. We did it. Hello. Okay.
This is class?
Yeah.
I'm still looking for.
Are you going to email me? Okay. I totally forgot. Okay, let me write a note to myself. What's your last name again? Okay, I will look that up when I get back to my house tonight. You didn't bring your form with you, did you? Okay. Basically, all you just need to do is bring me the form. I'm usually in my office between like 11 and noon most days, and then often from 1:30 to usually 3 or 4. So yeah. Yep, 4:30. Well, I have 4 offices, so it could be 4:32 through 4:29. We're all just like right in the corner. Yep. Good deal. Okay, we'll get it. We'll get it. Hello. I don't, but the book is available online. It's available through Amazon, through the Louisiana State Press distribution. I mean, it is available all over. Yeah. Yep. It's the only one I got. It's easy to find. Hello. I don't have change. I don't have Yeah, I don't have any change. I was just trying to think about it. What did I have? I have my card. Okay. Yeah, I should have gone to the bank beforehand, but I didn't get a chance to do that. Okay. Alrighty. Processing chip. Oh, she's fast this time. There we go. Get that, and now she's going to process. Oh man, I thought I could get that with one go. There you go. You're all right. You got to baby it a little bit, you know. We're doing it. There we go. Thank you so much. Okay, I did print that. Hooray! Hello. Yep.
So I'm in information that you have that club Thursday, is it 20?
Never too late. Never too late. All you have to do is to shoot me your email, and we'll add you to the mailing list. We meet 5:30 in 406, but we also have Microsoft Teams if people can't be there in person. So either way is fine. But yeah, just send me an email. CLOUDA is my email address. Happy to add you. You think you might read poetry or prose? Huh? You think you might want to read poetry or prose? Fiction? Okay.
Probably fiction.
Okay.
More. That's what I'm interested in, but I also do love poetry. So.
Okay. I'm just asking because right now it's like me and Kennedy Callahan reading poetry. So we're just like,
poetry if you need more people for it.
I'm recruiting. I'm actively recruiting at this
I'm
point.
actually writing right now. We're doing like the
Oh,
poetry.
nice. What did you say your major was?
I'm an English lit
You're
with a
an
minor
English
in creative writing.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, thank you so much.
Love it. Hooray. Who's next? Hello. How are you? I have them. I don't know why I'm signing. I like signing them first. Getting excited. I should have just like partially signed them before I came, but I did not. I did not. Some people don't want things signed. And that's fine too. It's weird. I think it's weird also.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not really supposed to send books in this regard. Someone else is supposed to do it for us. But you know what? I'm the only one who has the training. So here we go. Ha! So it's going to make you sign. Sign, please. Whoa! Oh no. We'll just use some teamwork. It'll be great. We did it. All right. So there is that, and there is that. Thank you very much. Stay. Hi. How are you? Good. Steve. For real. Okay. I will sell one to you.
It would have been funny if you said no.
I know, right?
I will buy one as well.
Neat. That's fun. Nope.
Are we live on national television right now?
Yep. yeah, I've got my sister and my nephew, and yep. We've got some the babies. Oh, there's yep. There are like several donut gaming related accounts, but he is donut gaming YT.
Just to clarify, but he is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He streams games all the time. Like that's his thing. And I watch the streams to hear his voice.
Yeah.
He does like everything in Roblox. Mostly Roblox, yeah. It's so wild how like they get older and just that's what they're supposed to do, but at the same time it just hurts your feelings. How dare you get older? Don't think about me. Okay. So that's these ones are fancy. Quicksilver ones.
I'm just making sure I wasn't close.
There's that back for you. All right, it's going to have you sign. So we're going to be very delicately careful about that. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. There you are.
My eyes are now, so I'll have to send you emails.
Oh, fun.
Lisa's thing.
Yay. Yay. It's going to be a lot of stuff. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Hi, Turner. Thanks, man. I got to do a thing. Hi, Chad. Hello. How are you?
This was wonderful.
Thanks for coming.
I purchased 2 of your books, please.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
They, with my gratitude.
Oh,
Should I sign them?
could you sign one of them for yours truly?
Yes.
And actually, feel free to sign the other one. I just don't know which of my lucky friends is going to be gifted with it.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm sitting there, I was like, I don't think I have that yet. We need to change that.
Oh. Forgot what day it was for a second.
Well, it's easy to do. So, of course, I was loving all the Lepidoptera.
So many things.
And I was especially pleased to hear the twice mandrake. I was like, now, again, there is someone who's done her homework. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, fun.
Yes.
Looking up that stuff was intense.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of old timey crazy spells that you don't.
Yeah. Well, I just planted some mandrake this year,
Oh,
so that
you
so
did?
it's new. It's at the front of my mind.
That's fancy.
Yeah. Right.
There's that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
So appreciate it.
It feels so dirty, doesn't it?
Right. Exactly. Hey.
I love it.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So good to see you outside of East Hall.
I know, right?
Right. Yes.
Just a different location that I am often in.
Take care.
Bye, love.
Do you take Discover card?
I suppose so.
Okay.
It's a real good question. I assume so.
We'll give it a go.
We'll give it a try. We'll see what happens. I think it really just reads everything with a chip.
I'm saving that card because I got it just before they enabled tap.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I could have done just like a little
You don't? Okay, here's the thing about that though. The woman who does Little Bear Furniture at Black Swamp, she had her square on her phone and she had her cards back here. And it tapped. So it charged her card for stuff as opposed to the customer's cards.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Is this for you?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I just realized that if I get the second book published, I'm gonna have to come up with a new line for the bottom. Because I haven't thought of one yet.
Well,
It's important.
yeah.
Tracy Brimhall does that. I stole that from her. It's not even a line in the book. That's my favorite part, though. It's a line that got cut from another book.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
I didn't know for the longest time. Like, I forgot that line got cut. And so it's just like, oops. My fault. My fault.
Thanks again.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll catch you on the fourth floor, baby.
I'll take one.
Okay. I can tell you
I'll
one.
take them all.
I think this one will work.
I don't know. For some reason, I'm doing this first.
It's just like, all right.
You should always get them out. What if I change my mind based on your signature?
Yeah, but I mean,
You ruined it.
I did. Well, there's some stuff I put in all of them, but
Yeah.
it always takes me forever. Okay. Let's give her a go. Yours is black. That's fine. Yours is thick. Why are your cards so thick?
I don't
Like
know.
3 C's.
That's what Amazon sent me.
How do you know such an official looking card? This isn't even like a little square.
Oh no, this isn't art. This belongs to university. Yeah, that's why. They have several that they loan out. But we're the ones who asked for them. Like originally, we're the ones who got them because I was just like, listen,
There's no line for it.
I've got needs here that you need to accommodate. Get on it. But then everybody wanted to use them. It's just like, well, people could have asked for them beforehand. Oh, I just did that the wrong way. That's for you. I haven't finished. Oops. Oh no, I haven't finished signing it. I'm very slow.
No, there's no one.
Oh, there's Tom. Hi, Tom.
Well, now it's quiet. I don't want to do my presentation.
I would think like.
Oh my God.
Part C's.
Yeah, well, I'm good.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I knew I was gonna like work. I didn't know how much I was gonna like it.
It's a thing. It's a
Very
thing we have.
exciting.
It's a kinship. There's some
Yeah,
stuff.
no, for sure. I'm like, and I've been writing about this character called the Amateur Mystic the last 2 weeks. So I was like, oh my gosh.
We love it. That is how it works.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked.
Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna start the process, and then by the time we're done, I will be
Have
working.
you read Madeline Sleeps and Madeline Sleeps? I don't think I have. It's very disturbing. It's like a hybrid piece. I just finished it. But I'm really invested by Matilda, the fairy creature in it. Who is like trying to, it's like this kind of like grotesque fairy, but she's only in a couple sections, but she's like trying to very scientifically figure out patterns of the world. Ooh, but like through natural phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
Your wings get hit with. Very interesting.
Aw. Buddy.
I realized like all of them. I realized like I'm doing a specific video game soundtrack.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, you're on camera now.
Yeah, now.
And for some reason, there are still people on there.
They miss you, that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Says there.
Okay, now we can try this.
Okay,
Now we do this part.
all right. What do I do?
How we do it.
So I put it down here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Divert my gaze. Ooh, girl. Spicy. My baby.
Exciting.
I know.
And now my gets like, oh my God. Her books in her bag.
Oh, wow. Louise Richardson, she's a badass and I love her. She's super awesome. Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Okay. I have some. Some of them are holding up my computer, but that's fine. But that's fine. No.
Very much so obsessed.
Oh.
I have pinned off, like I have a shadow box
Of what?
of moss that I've pinned.
Ooh, so you've done it yourself.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's hard work.
Yeah, it was a good summer project.
I did some transcription of John G. Children is that what it is? Letters. And most of it is about the jukebox. So I had to learn a lot about like the items,
Yeah.
the detritus, in order to understand what was going on in there, which was very strange. So now I feel like I've done it.
Yeah.
Okay, walk the
Anybody else buys a big book that you sell that you have?
The herbal PMR.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
It's okay. Oh, I have those. I
Oh, are you driving?
yeah. I got it. Yeah. I just have a cough shot in the back seat. I really need to Allie gave it to me, because the boyfriend got it for her, and I think you maybe already have one, so just like, it was really cheap. It is really domestic though. I think he just saw it was like a really good deal. And
Wow, that
somehow,
got
yeah.
real legible all of a sudden. That's fine. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Got it? Okay. Yours is blue. I don't know why, I'm just very interested in different cards. I know, right? Yeah, mine is very plain. Like it's just a normal bank card, but that reminds me I need to get new checks. Please sign your mother. I wonder if Jean remembers how to do this, or she's gonna want me to do it. She's gonna want me to do it. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? that page. Ta-da! We did it. Thank you. Hi everyone. I'm gonna end the stream now. Thank you for being here.
You're right. I never feel like I can get it.